Oh dear, it came up in one of my ANCAP groups that I'm in. The Austrian coat of arms has hammer and sickle in it. It's clearly a communist symbol. No, it's not, and I tell you why. The coat of arms of Austria is based on following symbolism: the eagle, the emblem, the myrtle crown, the sickle, the hammer, and the broken chains. Let's go through that, especially the thing with hammer and sickle, of course. The first thing to understand here is that this kind of symbolism has a long tradition for us. Austria exists since 1,000 years, and we changed the coat of arms over time. Best known is the Habsburger version with two heads. There is this argument that the new code is something completely different, and there are some arguments to say it's not. A lot of people say that the new version is the same thing as the old version, but without the eastern head, symbolizing Hungary. The official version is that these two things have no thing in common. You can clearly see that, so let's go with that. So let's dive into symbolism. The eagle symbolizes sovereignty and pride and is based on the Roman Aquila to create a link. Austria saw itself, like any other European nation, as the true heir to Rome. So making the central object Roman is pretty normal in this part of Europe with a Roman past. Secondly, we have the emblem of Austria. The red, white, red is based on the Binnenschild. The symbolism is lost in time, but there are legend of course to it. The most important is that Duke Leopold V did fight in pure white, because that was cool and hip in this time, in the siege to Acre in 1189. And when the siege was done, he was covered of course in blood. When he stripped down his belt, his coat was red, white and red. Well, this is the legend. De facto it's more likely that this is just a reduction of a silver cross on red, but whatever. Next in line is the myrtle crown, which is a symbol of the Republic, symbolizing the city walls. Again, Roman symbolism, and it means that we are a republic. And then the chains. The broken chains represent the freshly achieved freedom from Nazi Germany. Some words to that. After the First World War, pretty much all the parties in Austria wanted to join Germany. We were forbidden to do that. Then the year 1938 came, Germany marched in, and Austria did not fire one single shot. Quite the opposite, in fact. It was seen as a reunion of the German-speaking people and the fulfillment of what the people wanted. But the Germans would not be Germans if they would not have behaved like Germans. Austria was treated in the eyes of the Germans as a conquered nation. They did put Germans everywhere. Now let's remember that Vienna ruled way longer over the German speakers than Berlin, so the Austrians were not really cool with this concept that Austria is now just another part of the German Empire controlled by Berlin. After the Second World War, Austria developed a strong antipathy to Germany, so this chain says pretty much fuck you Germany. And now we're finally there, hammer and sickle, and do you see it? It's not crust. So it's not communism. What it represents is that there is a trinity between the farmers, the workers, and the government, represented by hammer, sickle and crown. There is a triangle of power there that is kept in balance. That's the idea. It's a pretty centrist idea to accept the workers and the farmers as the main powers, balanced under the rule of the government, from the people for the people. We can argue about the link to the reality, but that's not what we are going to do today. What we did is clarify that not any hammer and sickle in the same picture means that there is a communist around. And this goes to you, my ANCAP friends. Don't start with this SJW bullshit to see Nazis everywhere. I heard a story of an old man who went to the police because he thought there was a communist conspiracy in his cellar because there was hammer and sickle laying on each other. That's crazy. Don't be that crazy person and stop calling the Austrian coat of arms a communist symbol.